The first time I realized how quiet a house could feel at night was the evening my parents decided to leave me home alone for the first time in years. Not completely alone, though. My best friend Emily Ross was staying over. That fact should have made me feel more comfortable, but as the hours passed, comfort was the last thing either of us felt. It was late October in our town of Maple Ridge, Illinois, a small, tree-lined place where neighbors knew each other's kids. Everyone went to the high school football games on Fridays, and the most dangerous thing you usually saw was someone running a stop sign on Main Street. That night, though, Maple Ridge felt different, colder, emptier, and somehow more alive. Emily had been my best friend since kindergarten. Our moms met during a library reading group for toddlers, and by the time we were 6, we were practically family. She'd been at every one of my birthdays, knew my favorite kind of pizza, pepperoni and mushroom, and had been there when I broke my arm falling off a trampoline in 4th grade. If there was anyone I trusted completely, it was her. That Friday evening, my parents were invited to a dinner party in the next town over. "We'll be back before midnight," my mom said while slipping on her earrings. "No parties, no wandering outside, and no horror movies that will keep you awake all night." "Got it," I said, although that last rule was never going to stick. Emily's parents were out of town, too, her dad on a work trip in Chicago and her mom visiting her aunt in Michigan. It seemed harmless for us to hang out, order pizza, and watch movies. We were 16, not 6. By 7:30, we'd turned the living room into our own little theater. A stack of DVDs sat on the coffee table next to a bowl overflowing with popcorn. Emily was sprawled at one end of the couch, her feet tucked under a blanket, and I sat at the other end, flipping through movie options. "Horror marathon," she suggested. "Obviously," I said, grinning. The first movie was a predictable haunted house flick where the characters made every bad decision possible. We laughed at their mistakes, tossing popcorn at the screen whenever someone split up or decided to investigate a creepy noise alone. But during the second movie, something pulled our attention away from the screen. It was faint at first, a soft tapping sound from somewhere upstairs.
"Pause it," I said.
Emily rolled her eyes, but grabbed the remote. "What now?" "Listen." We both sat still. Tap, tap, tap. Her brows knitted together. "That's probably just the wind." "Inside the house?" I asked. We tried to ignore it, but the tapping came again. Louder this time, followed by a low creak. "Okay, that's weird," she admitted. I muted the TV, and we sat there in silence. The house felt suddenly too big, every corner filled with shadows. Then came a thud. We jumped. "That's upstairs," I said. Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. "Ryan, do not say what I think you're about to say." "We should check it out," I told her. "Or we could just not." Her sarcasm was usually funny, but there was a nervous edge to it now. Still, I grabbed the flashlight from the kitchen drawer and headed toward the stairs. Emily followed reluctantly, muttering something about horror movie rules. We climbed slowly, each step groaning under our weight. The upstairs hallway stretched ahead, lined with closed doors that suddenly felt unfamiliar. My room was first, nothing out of place. The guest room was the same. Only the attic door remained. "You've got to be kidding me," Emily whispered. "No way." I twisted the knob and pushed the door open. The smell of dust and old wood rushed out. My flashlight beam swept across boxes, an old rocking chair, and a pile of forgotten holiday decorations. "See," I said, forcing a smile. "Empty."
Bang.
Something slammed against the attic floor. Emily screamed, and I nearly dropped the flashlight. We didn't stick around. We bolted down the stairs, shutting ourselves in the living room. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Emily grabbed her phone. "I'm calling my dad." I hesitated. "What if it's nothing?" "What if it's not?" she shot back. Her dad's voice on the other end told us to stay put, lock the doors, and wait while he called our neighbor, Mr. Allen, to check on us. The next 20 minutes dragged like hours. Every creak and gust of wind outside felt like something moving closer. I kept the flashlight in my hand, the beam sweeping over the windows every few seconds. Finally, there was a knock at the door. "It's Mr. Allen," a voice called. I opened it just enough to see our neighbor, bundled in a jacket, flashlight in hand. He was the kind of neighbor everyone trusted, retired, always ready to help, and the unofficial handyman for half the street. He went upstairs to investigate, disappearing into the attic for a few minutes. When he came back down, he was smiling. "Relax, kids," he said. "You've got a raccoon up there. Must have slipped in through a loose vent. I'll call animal control in the morning." Emily and I let out matching sighs of relief. We spent the rest of the night in the brightly lit kitchen, playing cards until my parents came home. The attic door stayed shut, and neither of us went anywhere near it. Years later, Emily and I still talk about the attic incident. It's funny now, but that night it felt real. Too real. And maybe the scariest part wasn't what was up there, but how quickly the familiar can turn strange when the lights go dim.